the problem with the standard oval. If your train's long enough, it looks like it's chasing itself around the track. Oh, this is one of the best Lego trains ever made. Santa Fe Super Chief. I need a B unit, a custom B unit. I love that those shiny bricks there. Hey, it's Jabbo. Welcome to BrickTsar, your home for vintage Lego and really all things Lego. There's one thing that everybody should know about me by now is that not only do I love Lego, I love trains. I love trains so much I created a whole separate channel just for trains, and it's actually my most successful channel. Trains are fun. It's a play on words. I think that's obvious. And I'm even wearing a train t-shirt. I got this on the bicycle ride across Georgia when we went through the little town of Jessup, which is pretty much a dried up town now, I think. But apparently 5 railroads used to meet there. So I bought a Jessup t-shirt. One of the first train-related t-shirts I ever bought. This was in the early 90s when I got this. Not sure which year it was. I'd have to go look at all my maps from the bicycle ride across Georgia. But anyway, we got the Santa Fe Super Chief. It's down here in front of me. We're going to be showing you that some more. And we're going to be talking about this poster. I showed it, I think, in a video a little while back, but I got some feedback on it from a guy that was really somebody that influenced me to really get into collecting Lego trains back in the late 90s. And so I'm going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about another problem. Now, one thing with trains, there's different types of trains that Lego has made that people really would love to see them make again, but they're not. They've made it clear they're not. If you really want to annoy somebody with Lego Group, ask them if they're bringing back monorail or 9-volt train. They don't like it when we ask, and they're not going to do it, so don't ask. So we're going to look at an alternative to 9-volt track, because track is very expensive. The curves, you can still get the curves anywhere from 50 to 75 cents. But the straight tracks usually are over $4, but more likely closer to $5 a piece for a straight track. And another problem with Lego train track, they only made one radius of track, the R40 as we like to call it. It's 40 studs. That's another thing I wish Lego had done different, and I wish it's something I wish Lego would do differently now with the power function track. Just make at least one bigger radius of track. But nope, they've stuck with this standard since 1966, so I don't think it's going to change. But yeah, let's talk about this, and I'm going to show you what we got in the mail that's going to be a possible alternative to Lego 9-volt track. Again, this is one of the problems with the 9-volt system. The rubber they use for the insulation of the wires is pretty bad. I actually honestly don't even know how this thing's working. But yeah, it still works. Watch this. So you have to make sure the wires aren't touching, shorten it out. It's here too. And on my layout here that I made, it's just a simple oval. I did use 2 different colors of track. 9-volt era went from early 90s to the early 2000s. So it transitioned from the dark gray era, which is on this side of the track, to the dark bluish gray era. It's on that half. So that half of the oval is dark bluish gray, and this half of the oval is old dark gray. This is what we ordered. It's FxBricks 8832, the S32 straight track. Now, this is not like your typical 9-volt track. This is 5 inches long. This is about 10 inches long, or 32 studs. That's why it's called 32. S32, 32 studs, 256 millimeters. So approximately 10 inches. It says L gauge compatible metal track. And this is what I really want to get, is the different curves. They are going to be coming out with more. They're going to be having smoother radius switch tracks. Oh, I want to get the curves. So R40's in here, then R56, then R72. I think R72 is the next one they're making. But you can have these big trains look so much nicer on these big curves. So this is not curves, it's straight. The curves were not available when I went to place the order. Let me see if I can open this. Oh, they got tape holding one side of it here. Uh-oh, I just cut my box. All right. There we go. It looks so much like Lego track. It's got FX on the studs there. So this would be the equivalent of 2 of the straight track boxes. In the straight track boxes that Lego made, you had 8 tracks. This has 8, but they're twice as long. So it's about the equivalent price. If you were to go buy some used Lego 9-volt track, it would cost you about the same as this. So you're not gaining a lot other than it's readily available and you can buy it. But let's see how it compares when we connect it to the track. It looks very close to the light bluish gray. It's a little bit bluish. Of course, my light bluish gray track is a little older, so it could have discolored a little bit. It seems to fit together well. It looks well made. I do notice that the edges are a little rougher than the Lego edges. When you rub your finger across them, you can feel it. Maybe these are just more worn down from years of use. But I think it looks good with the light bluish gray. I mean the dark, did I say light bluish gray? Dark bluish gray. Of course, Lego, when they were in the 9-volt era, the dark gray, the old dark gray time period lasted a lot longer than the dark bluish gray area. So it's easier to find old dark gray compared to bluish gray. That's unusual for some of the colors, because you would think, oh, the older one would be harder to find than the newer one, but this didn't run as long, so a lot more of this out there on the market to buy. But I think it makes more sense for them to make it this color here. I mean, look how much bigger my layout is just with the one box. So it's 8. I added 2 here, 2 there, 2 there, and 2 over here. Now, I haven't tested it. Well, let's see how it works. Here we go, first test. And I didn't expect any problems. Isn't it much better having a bigger layout? Nice. So again, the price of it for the straights, you can still go buy used 9-volt track for the equivalent price. I think the real place that this is going to be neat, and what I'm eagerly looking at getting, is the larger radius tracks. So that will be exciting, because I can't run some of my brick model railroader cars. They won't fit on these tight curves. So if I can get larger curves, then I can pull my brick model railroader stuff with a 9-volt motor. Actually, I probably need multiple 9-volt motors. There's only one 9-volt motor in this train. I need to put one in the other one, because it's really not good on these motors to put this kind of stress on them, to pull this kind of weight. So yes, people, there is an alternative to Lego 9-volt track. It is this FxBricks stuff, and they will be having some curves. I wish the curves had been available when I placed this order. This was all that was available, and since well, hold on, I got a lot of straight, so, and a lot of the R40 curves. So and notice most all of this is, I actually had to dig through to find the newer dark bluish gray track. There's one sitting there, but most of mine is the old dark gray. Try to remember to put a link, but it's FX. I mean FX. Did I say PF? It's FX. How many times did I say PF in this video? I don't know. It's FxBricks. FX. L-gauge compatible. Pretty cool. FxBricks.com. Pretty easy to remember. Don't even need to put a link. You can type that in quicker, then you can find the link in my description. So I'm going to talk about this poster and also this other YouTuber, Cassville, who I probably should do a whole separate video about my early memories from the pre-2000s of getting on the internet and discovering this guy's website. I wish his website was still up that he had at that time. He had a website where he took pictures of the different vintage Lego trains from the 60s on up. And that was my resource for knowing what was available. There was no BrickSet at this time. This is before BrickSet. This is before Bricklink. And so there wasn't a lot of information that I was aware of. I'm sure somebody had another database somewhere. So the two main places I got my information about Lego trains was from Ben here, this guy, and from there was the North Georgia Lego Train Club had a pretty good website, which I think had a connection to the guy he mentions in here. I may be wrong. It was James Mathis. Did he mention James? No, I don't think he did. But anyway, let me read Stegsfield's comment. He says, maybe you're interested in some background info on the Iltco in the poster. So the poster that we've been showing you, that's Iltco, which was ILTCO, one of the earliest Lego train clubs, I think. It says, Iltco was intended to be a roof organization of known and officially recognized Lego train clubs. Lego newly installed community development manager Jake McKee, the one who did the early and now rare first Lego train book. I think I did a video on that book. If not, I need to. He wanted to have a reliable infrastructure of organized train fans to promote Lego trains in the fan communities and in the public. Iltco would in result be the channel to support the organized and active train fans with goodies and giveaways at shows. Oh, I wish I was involved in shows back then. It says one early and great haste produced goodie has been the very poster that we showed you. It says the front side photo with some overlay of painted art was in fact created to hide the poor photograph quality, which was the only one available in marketing. You're Lego. How do you can't take another picture? It's crazy. Again, it is the 90s. Digital photography probably wasn't as big back then. Let me get back to it. So I just think it's funny that it's got this fuzzy art to hide the poor quality photograph they took. There was I see what it is. There was no time for another high quality shooting. For Lego, it was easier to get a graphic professional doing some makeup on it. And it did work. He says, and hey, this was nearly 20 years ago. All this is just memorized without checking one of the hundreds of emails we exchanged on Iltco and Lego train clubs. So don't take it for 100% precise. My memory's fuzzy too, Ben. He says, I was involved myself because I ran the www.FGLTC, the first German Lego train club. That was way less of an organization and swayed a label for promoting the private hobby. Actually, we never asked for any support from the Lego company nor received any, but Jake gave me a good handful of these posters when he first presented them. And it was at the 1000 Steinland Expo. And he said there's also Brickfest and Portland PDX. He was traveling the world those years. Oh, I tell you, so that in that time period of my life, I didn't have a lot of free time. I was working 2 jobs. So my time was hard to find free time. But man, if I had known, I would have loved to have met Ben when he came to the United States. But he says, in the end, I gave these posters to friends around and put them on eBay sales and free extras to get rid of them. Have a great time, Ben. So, Ben, I want to thank you. It's like I've never had like communication directly with him very much, other than through forum posts or YouTube and on his YouTube channel. But he did influence me a lot, and this was before eBay, before Bricklink, before BrickSet. This is back in the days when, I think there was Puron and Lugnet, North Georgia Lego Train Club, reg.toys.lego, and his website Also, Matt Child's website was another one that I used to look at. He's the guy that did the first, one of the first, or the first working Lego roller coaster using vintage Lego train track. But yeah, it's a good memory for me. Glad I got the internet and discovered all this stuff, and it led to this passion I have for Lego trains. Even more so because stuff was, I mean, Lego trains, other than the 9-volt stuff, it was foreign to me that there was other things out there. Once I discovered that, I've said it many times, it led to me selling my Pirates and Castle stuff so I could get all those trains that were sold only in Europe, and it's all Ben's fault. Thank you, Ben. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Getting a little insight into my past with Lego trains and this poster. Thanks to Ben for sharing some information about this poster. And thanks to FxBricks for making available tracks that's compatible with 9-volt. This, again, not sponsored. I did buy all this. And I do plan to go buy some of the curved tracks to go with my trains as well. And we'll hopefully see that in an upcoming video. But I'm going to go now. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm dancing. I'm happy. I'm good. Tornado just went past. Actually, no tornado. We were under tornado warning the day I'm filming this. And everything's good. So hope everybody else is safe. And we'll see you tomorrow. Yep. Last video of March. Time for a new box.